Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur Podcast. It's your host, Steve, and today we have a recent repeat guest, Christian and Lauren from Big Sky Wood Company. They used to be called Big Sky Dry, but they've rebranded. So, guys, tell the Woodpreneur community, what have you been up to since we last talked?
A lot. Yeah. So
Tons.
like you said, we rebranded just to kind of, well, by your suggestion, Steve helped us out with the name suggestion and we loved it. And yeah, just realized that we were expanding really fast and kind of wanted a brand that encapsulated everything we were doing. So yeah, we've been rebranding, and we also moved from the little garage we started into a real location with a warehouse and a showroom and a brewery across the street. So yeah, we've been very busy.
That's really cool. And I saw that on Instagram that you have like really delved into community, right? Like being a part of different events. How have you seen that made a big difference?
Huge. It's been just huge. I mean, we're already trying to kind of get involved in the woodworking community just through social media, but we were in a pretty remote location before, and now we're in this neighborhood where all of the businesses are locally owned businesses that are trying really hard to work together and help each other out. And yeah, word of mouth has just been huge. Even just people having a beer across the street and then coming on in afterward has been great for business. And then yeah, just all using social media, and we're constantly all reposting each other's stuff, and yeah, like you said, trying to join in on events. Yeah, it's been really great for business.
What kind of gave you the confidence to invest, double down even more on your brand?
I mean, the market here, for one, I think we're the only people around here, with a kiln. And I think what we can offer is pretty special to the area. And we just saw a lot of potential. And on top of that, we just really enjoy it. So I think more than anything, that's probably it, is we like going into the shop. We like, working with our hands. We like getting to interact with customers. We get to see all this really cool and diverse wood that comes through, and these cool and diverse customers that come through as well. And you are constantly learning something. I think that makes it really great.
Yeah, I think in terms of just the brand, doubling down on like that specific brand, because we'd started with Big Sky Dry, and it was kind of a pain to decide we were going to do a new logo and a new name and everything. But we got really great feedback. Like, we have so many people that we don't even know that well that are like, I want a hat and I want a t-shirt, and what do you guys do? And I think just seeing a lot of really positive feedback, seeing like social media growth even before we've started doing any paid social, definitely gave us the confidence to keep growing the business and the brand together.
What else? So before you were drying, and then I think when we last talked, Christian, you just started making your own little wood products. What else did you add to the mix that helped with the growth?
I think slab sales has been the biggest thing. Realizing that we can just get our own logs, work with local sawyers, dry them and sell them. Make really great margins.
Big. And what we've been able to do is, we'll say, I don't have this right now, so we don't have to keep a massive inventory of slabs because we have a kiln. And we can say, well, this was in a backyard, 2 weeks ago. My guy milled it last week. It's going into the kiln today. So turnover and throughput and output is been really, I think, kind of what we've been focusing on in terms of how we're getting, product out, is saying like, you know what, maybe we don't have this right now, but we can get it to you in a usable way in a month at most. So that's been something that we've really used to our advantage, which we have to. But yeah, I think that's another aspect we've used. Like, we just had an order this morning for, it's like 1,600 board foot of linear dimensional stuff that a guy's using for a roof. And we weren't doing that before at all. So we've slowly gotten to that, a little bit of trim packages. That and the slabs, I think, is really where we've evolved since we talked last.
Yeah, we didn't even really intend on the special order stuff. It kind of just happened that people kept asking us, and we were like, well, we can make it happen because we have the kiln. So,
and we're cheaper than Home Depot right now.
And we're cheaper than Home Depot with really cool local blue pine.
Yeah.
So
that's actually something that I wanted to talk about too. It's like, I mean, we saw lumber prices go through the roof during the pandemic, and like local lumber businesses like yourself are like super competitive priced. They get to actually know you and not a salesperson and not a big box. Like, how have you sort of translated that or used that to your advantage to increase sales?
I mean, I would just say, we say a lot, like, you're not buying from a big box store. This wood came from the Bitterroot Valley, which is 40 miles from us. It's out. It's been in your backyard for years and you kind of didn't know it was there. And now you get to use it as part of your home, and you know exactly where it came from. And I think it's sustainable that way. You can really, you can see where this was start to finish. So somebody cut it down, our sawyer in the valley milled it, we are drying it, where it was from start to finish. And I think people really value that a lot.
I think especially Montanans, like there's a lot of people that they have a lot of pride in Montana, like we do. And they're really excited to support local Montana business, have Montana wood in their home, and somehow still pay less money than they were going to pay at Home Depot. And like I said, it's like beautiful blue piners. It's something special. They know where it's from. So yeah, it's obviously worked to our advantage a lot that we can compete with the big box.
That's so cool. And it seems like you got a place in, like, was it in downtown Missoula?
Yeah. So, well, it's not quite downtown. It's a little more to the north, but it's a really cool, there's a bunch of new businesses right by us.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's a brewery, there's a coffee shop, there's just like a ton of cool new businesses.
Yeah. It's up and coming, like really artsy neighborhood, I would say.
You guys are totally like trendsetters right now. No, because there's a few, because like I just met this. They don't do what you do, but I was just in Detroit, and there was like this little neighborhood. It's like this hip, like artsy vibe neighborhood, and they built this like this wood shop. Let's call it, what do they call it? Woodward Throwbacks. Anyway, but they've and you should check them out on social, like, and totally like model their social feed as yours, like totally. Anyway, it's really interesting because what you're doing is putting what traditionally is like in a very far off, not thought of location, you're putting it in a central place and helping to curate a conversation in the community. And then you're intermingling with like-minded, creative, entrepreneurial business owners like yourself, right? Like they appreciate the craft, they appreciate the hard work, because it's not easy running your business. That's really freaking cool. That's so cool.
Thank you. I think another facet of that for us was we wanted to be in this area because, to me, if I don't know anything about lumber and I'm just somebody who wants to, go buy a slab or two, going to a lumber yard always felt kind of I was around a lot of lumber yards as kids, but it's like pretty intimidating to be like, wow, there's mountains of wood here. They talked about dimensions in these ways. I don't exactly know what they're saying. And that we don't want it to be like intimidating when somebody comes in and looks at a piece of wood. And I think being in the area we are, and just how we convey ourselves.
Yeah, we've really been trying to cater to like also like the arts community and the DIY kind of community, because like Christian said, people come in we're just going to have a conversation with you. If it's the first time you've ever worked on a project and this is your first table, like, yeah, we just want it to be a really comfortable place to come in and look at cool slabs and talk about wood. Because yeah, I can speak to that. Feeling like a big lumberyard was kind of intimidating if I didn't know anything about it. Anything about the industry.
Yeah, and there's so much jargon and everything else that sometimes like I forget too, especially when I'm talking about the iDry. There's just so much jargon that I think intimidates people, and that we've really tried to not have jargon in anything we say, really.
For sure.
There's a lot of people that come in and they just want like one slab for one kitchen counter, and it's their first time ever doing something. And I feel like they appreciate the atmosphere a lot.
That's great. So how do you guys see yourself growing?
Something we talk about a lot. I mean, I think slab sales, really ramping up slab sales. Our iDry is booked out. We don't ever advertise drying anymore. We're booked out for months and months on end. I think the main ways we're going to grow is by eventually getting a second kiln to keep up with all the drying demand and really ramping up slab sales. That's my opinion.
And I mean, just at some point, we've been trying to stick our heels in the ground and not feel like we're backpedaling a little bit, since we're still setting things up in a way. And I think as soon as we start launching paid social, I think that's going to be really huge. And then we can kind of add fuel to the fire. I think that's going to be a really big thing. And, just finding good sources for a bunch of different types of wood. I think that's important too.
That's so cool. What about, are you guys going to continue making products?
Yes. Yeah. So, and that's probably another place where we grow, is just to continue to get, a little bit more. We were doing the online stuff for a while, but we were getting a lot of, it was too many orders and I couldn't fill them as we were moving and setting up the shop and everything. So we'll probably get back into that. We need some better equipment for mass producing furniture. So that's another thing we can do for sure. And then I really see the dimensional stuff being something that we might do a little bit more of, especially with the iDry. That's so advantageous to us because it's this stuff's all 1 inch thick, so it's all in there like a week to 10 days and that's it. I think those custom orders like that will be pretty big for us.
I just talked to a guy, he's in Oregon, and he was saying how selling dimensional is, because that's what most customers want, like individual customers, they want that. And if you can work with your sawyer to make sure that you get the FAS, like the best quality, right, off the sawmill, and you could basically kind of eat like Home Depot's lunch, right? Like if you have enough of the dimensional stuff, that's really good. And which not a lot of iDry kiln, not a lot of them see that as a market. Then you have it has a different level of conversation, because like slabs are like one thing, but like everybody needs dimensional, you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. And dimensional is a lot more efficient to load than a slab.
It's so much. It's so nice to
fit
see
so much more, right? Like
yeah. So your yield from a single load is just like way better when you're just doing dimensional. And it looks prettier.
Yeah,
for sure. That's so cool. Cool. So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned so far in sort of upgrading and essentially scaling up your business?
Man, there's a
lot of lessons.
You gotta hound the city sometimes. That's
we've learned. We've been kind of just jumping through a lot of hoops and whatnot just to get business licenses and whatnot to be right in the city of Missoula.
Yeah.
I don't know, as far as lessons go, take a deposit down when you take a really big order.
Yeah, that happened one time.
Little things like that. And also just grind. Like there was a time where we were like getting up at 6 a.m. because we could only landscape before it got really hot.
Like 100
and then we were working until like 11 p.m. at night. Just trying to get this new spot up and running. And it was fun, but a little bit miserable. And it was worth it. So it's worth the grind, if you have to be exhausted for a few weeks, it's or months or years.
You might as well do it for yourself and not anybody else. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Yeah. It always feels a lot better when it's like, well, this is mine at the end of the day. So
yeah, totally.
I think just the hustle behind all of it.
For sure. So one thing.
What was that?
I was gonna say, can I give you guys some feedback?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
You guys need to get your Google reviews on. Like your Google reviews, like literally go to every single one of your customers and say 10% off if you leave a Google review.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
You need to just blow up your Google, because what ends up happening is if people do lumber, Missoula, like you need to be first.
Right.
And the business with the most reviews ends up being first. And even if you're not first because you didn't have good SEO on your website, you're going to be first in terms of reviews, right?
Okay.
So like and the other thing too is like, as a local business, I would literally leave reviews on all of the local businesses. Hey, this is Lauren Christian from Big Sky Wood Company. We're across the street from the brewery. We love this business. We love this beer, that beer. Oh, and the burger's awesome. That's like how you can kind of hack, right? Like, so that's something that's like, I mean, there's tons more that you could do, but like, just as you're a local business and you want to brand yourself more, that's like reviews and Facebook reviews, just like make it like your thing. Like as soon as somebody buys, hey, can you leave a review? Please, can you leave a review? You can make a card that says 10% off your next order if you leave a review. Like
that.
That's going to help tremendously. The other thing is you could either partner with makers. I would partner with makers to lead workshops. Build your first slab table.
We would love
we actually talked to somebody last week about that.
Did you?
Yeah, that.
Do it.
Yeah,
do it, right? Like make your first river table. And then so what ends up happening is that people buy, but like if you can literally position Big Sky Wood Company as the go-to for all things DIY woodworkers in Missoula and the surrounding area. So just make sure you have everything everybody needs, period. Everything everybody needs. Like that's your market. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like that's gonna help. You're gonna dominate anyway because nobody else has a kiln, right? And you're like a nice, approachable like couple, right? And so like I would sell your story even more. That's why you got to look at Woodward Thorbacks. Like Woodward Thorbacks, it's a couple that leads it too, and it totally like, and you want to market the crap out of Missoula, Montana. Like you're all things Missoula, Montana, all things. But guys, I'm so excited for you. That's so exciting.
Cool.
Thank you. And we love your feedback always.
Yeah, this is all really helpful.
It always is so helpful.
Obviously, because you helped us rebrand.
It's my
Yeah, it's
pleasure.
always
That's it, and it also helps out the community too. So it's inspiring. It's literally you're literally doing these things that like everybody wants to do or has done, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're on this journey. It's on this journey, this entrepreneurial journey, like and I mean, what you're doing is the one other thing which I kind of have to tell you is that like is to like almost be proponents of urban lumber, like leverage that,
Yeah.
like local sustainable lumber from like your backyard. And if you start
Right.
pushing that idea even more, that's like stuff that could end you up in like the newspaper and whatever, like, and when you're really done,
Yeah.
I know,
Right.
don't you do marketing, Lauren? Don't you?
Yeah, I
Are you a
do.
you're a copywriter or?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
copywriter at a little agency in town.
Yeah, just put out a press release and just say and just blast all of the local news outlets and have
Yeah.
a grand opening, and then invite everybody and have your calendar for your have a calendar for your events. Like I would literally just start planning your events. Just like contact people. Like even if you're still putting stuff together, just like start having your events. Because here's the thing, and I say this to everybody that has a space that could potentially be a retail space, right? In the showroom. It's like you just start marketing the progress. You don't market perfection. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you
that's a good
I
you
like
point.
sh-
that.
Yeah.
you market the fact that you're building together, and like, hey, we're gonna have workshop starting in September. It's gonna be like once a week workshop for 4 weeks or 2 times a week. It's gonna be a few $100s, but you're gonna learn how to build your own table, or you're gonna learn
Yeah.
how to
Right.
make your own charcuterie board, and we're gonna do it all
Yeah.
here. You could get all of your tools here, all of the things here, everything right here.
Yeah.
Who's
I
in?
like it.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool.
And I think the
So
event thing's a really good idea.
what's your new website? What's your new Instagram?
Big Sky Woodco for both of them.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. So
cool.
bigskywoodco.com and just at Big Sky Woodco.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Super excited. Please keep in touch and let us know how things are going. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Talk to you soon.